It's Monday, March 30th, and you're watching the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Betting Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. I'm your host, Jason Cooper, alongside my producer for the next hour and a bit.
A little blurry.
Got to work on the camera there. Just a little blurry there. All good. Great show for you today. Excited to get into things. A lot to talk about that happened this weekend. Elite 8, that was fantastic. Sweet 16, that was great last week. So many things that we can talk about. And I'm excited to get into all those things this week and today, as we have a great show for you today. MLB is back. NBA, NHL in the full swing. We got Masters coming up next week as well. A lot of sports, lots to talk about. Can't wait to get in with it with you guys. Let's start. Let's bring up who we have on the show today. Batting leadoff, we got Alex Moretto talking some NHL bets and MLB awards. We're also talking some daily bets as well for the MLB today. The first thing we got to talk about, though, Bruce Cassidy out, Torts in. Have we ever seen a team in a playoff race? I mean, they're basically locked into the playoffs. Have we ever seen a team fire their head coach this late in the season? I believe they only have 7 games left. Pretty interesting, crazy move. We'll see if it works out for Vegas. They have a good team. So maybe it's the shakeup they needed. Wondering why you didn't do this earlier. Who knows? We'll talk about that and more with Alex. Probably talk about the Rookie of the Year race, which has been absolutely fantastic. Chase DeLauder. The guy on the White Sox who's like the Japanese guy. Can't pronounce his name. Not going to try. Maybe I'll be able to do it. 3 home runs, 3 games. Crazy stuff there. Very, very fun Rookie of the Year race to start the season. After that, we got Matt Winick coming on. Like I talked about, the Elite 8. Going to talk about the Final Four. UConn. Oh, my God. What was that? Caden Boozer, what are you doing? Duke had that one. Completely pissed it away, pissed down their leg, lost that game. Going to talk about that with Matt Winick. Then finally close out the show with Drunken Goon. Going to talk some World Cup qualifiers. And hopefully he's going to want to talk some MLS now that it's back in the swing of things for this upcoming weekend. If you're not on the Discord, do us a favor. Join the Discord. You're really missing out. We have nearly 1,800 members, and it's absolutely cooking. It's a place to chat during the games. Our creators are sharing banger bets, and so is our Hammer audience. Join us at discord.gg/Hammer and see what you've been missing. I have a little bit of a bone to pick. We saw a lot of crazy stuff this weekend, but my biggest takeaway is the Raptors. They went on a 31-0 run against the Orlando Magic. They were down 20-14. I believe it was halfway through the first quarter, towards the end of the first quarter. They went on, like I said, 31-0 run. 45-20 when that run ended. And if we bring up the tweet here, everyone said 31-0 is the largest unanswered run since 97-98. Well, if the game ended 45-20, then yes, this would have been an unanswered run, but the Magic ended up scoring a point after this. Thus, should not be an unanswered run. But everyone's talking about it like it's an unanswered run. It is consecutive. There's a poll in the chat. You guys let us know what you think. Am I overstating this? It should be consecutive. It's not unanswered. It was answered. If it was unanswered, the game would have been over, whatever, the 45-20, or the Raptors could have scored more points. It is not unanswered. It should be consecutive, and we need to change this. As a society, this needs to happen. This needs to happen.
Huckleberry Finn shared his thoughts on it.
I'm going to pull up that. You want to pull up that comment for me? I don't have the comment section up right now.
He says, consecutive points means they did not miss a shot. Unanswered points means the opponent has not scored.
But the opponent did score.
Yes.
The opponent did end up scoring.
Correct.
Consecutive. They consecutively scored without the Magic breaking it. It's not unanswered. It was answered. It's not unanswered. It was answered. There's a poll up in the chat if you guys want to vote on it, and you guys let me know. All right. First guest coming on today, as seen on Edgework. I'm convinced he only owns one hat. Alex Moretto in his Habs hat. Going to talk some NHL MLB. Alex, how's it going?
Yeah, just one hat, man. Why do you need 2?
At least get like a different Habs one. No?
If you knew how many colors I had this hat in. The issue is I keep my hats downstairs by the door. You know what I mean? Because I don't wear hats at home unless I'm like, not having a good hair day. I don't want to like come on camera and I haven't done anything. Just slap the hat on. So I got one in my office. So this is like the go-to for the show.
Okay.
But I have this same hat in like 3 different colors. And about a million others that I'm just lazy. I don't want to go downstairs and get a new hat.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's I can understand that, but maybe we like add to the Hammer budget here and give you like some hat budget so you can have some multiple hats.
Order me a few. Yeah. I'm gonna fill up a cart. I'm gonna send you the link.
Okay.
And get Rob in office today to order me. Yeah.
Okay, all right, sounds good. Maybe I can order some hats for myself because, I wish I was wearing a hat today. Anyways, let's get into things right off the hop. Vegas hires Bruce Cassidy. I don't know if you can remember, when was the latest in the season you can remember a playoff team or they're pretty locked in the playoffs. It's fair to say, right? They could miss.
Oh yeah. I mean, they could miss, but they're not going to miss.
It's hard to think of a time even pre-trade deadline where a team is as locked in as the Golden Knights are and firing their head coach. Talk me through this firing. What do you think of the Torts hiring? The other head coach that they could have hired was DeBoer, but can you really do that? I don't know. So I guess Torts was really their only option. Talk us through this firing and what you think of the Torts hiring.
Yeah, so in terms of the last time I can remember this happening, I don't. My memory is also terrible, so take that with a grain of salt. But I can't remember a team that's going to be walking into the playoffs in basically beginning of April, end of March here, firing their head coach. So obviously Vegas, they've been, right near the top of the league since they came into this league. So the organization, I feel very much lacks patience. They don't want to sit around and wait for things to get better. Waste a season with, their windows essentially closing. This is a team that's getting older. A lot of key pieces getting older. They don't have picks. They don't have prospects. So while they do have players that are, some players that are going to still be good for a while, it's hard to see them staying near the top of the league. And now obviously you can question whether or not they're actually at the top of the league right now, because there's layers to this. The last time they were above 500 was on January 17th. Last time they had more wins than losses, including overtime, shootout losses, all that. So since then they're 8-15-4. So Cassidy, gotta go. We got to get this fixed. But over that span, they're fourth in the NHL in expected goal share at 5-on-5. They have not been, I've been saying this so many times on Edgeworth. They haven't been playing bad hockey. They've just been generally, I would say, unlucky. You want to say what's the issue? Over that same span, they're 28th in shooting percentage and 30th in save percentage. So dead last in PDO in the NHL. So they're just not getting the bounces. They're not getting the goaltending. And in this league, it's unfortunate, but bad goaltending can get a coach fired. That's just what it boils down to. I don't think there's more to it than that. I've seen a lot of this team sucks and they're being saved by loser points and a bad division. And yes, they are being saved by loser points in a bad division, but to an extent, they're being saved because the puck hasn't been bouncing their way and they're getting unlucky. They're not a bad team playing bad hockey that's being saved by a bad division. They're a good team getting unlucky that's being saved by a bad division. So I think there's layers to it, and there's an element to a lot of the rhetoric out there that I think is true, but there's an element that's very much fake. And I think we've kind of gotten to a point where the public has kind of soured on Vegas, but you can see by market prices, even on FanDuel, to win the West and all that sort of stuff. The betting market hasn't soured on Vegas. And I think there's good reason for that, because this team has never been a bad team at any point, I would say, this season. They've had their injuries. They've had their issues, obviously, and goaltending's an issue, but they're in a division where they're going to be playing Edmonton, who also has goaltending issues. So, if they keep playing the way they're playing, I don't think they'll be in any danger. They can still make a deep run in this division. Torts is very interesting because I think, again, I don't think Cassidy needed to be fired, and I think Cassidy's a good coach. But Torts is interesting because Torts is also a good coach in a very small window. He's the type of guy who very much has a shelf life, and so bringing a guy like that in this late in the season, that's not a concern. You're not going to have guys get tired of Torts by March, because you're hiring him in March. So I'm very interested to see how that plays out. I think he could have a lot of success there, but again, I don't think much has to change other than some pucks just have to start going in and they have to just start getting a few more saves, which I'm not worried about the former. The latter, maybe a little bit more concerned because the goaltending isn't great. But yeah, I think this Vegas team is fine. I was floored yesterday when I got that tweet notification from Friedman.
Yeah, no, I know that Bruce Cassidy is I don't want to say Tortorella has a shelf life, but his message is definitely one that's a little bit harder for players to swallow and maybe can wear on you over time. So I guess that's where this firing makes a little bit of sense. Like you mentioned, though, I'm just shocked that Vegas never made a move for the goalie at the deadline. The only thing I worry about with the Vegas team is maybe Torts tries to push them in the wrong direction in terms of what Vegas was when they came into the league was this gritty, sort of snotty team, and we've seen how teams who embrace the snot might not be the best course of action, especially if a team doesn't have the players to do so, and it doesn't feel like Vegas has those sort of players to do so. They just have quality players, and I think hopefully Torts can open things up and just let them play, and then these luck issues will solve themselves.
Yeah, you're your group chats must have been going off with Marner strikes again, the coach killer. I'm sure all your Leafs fans friends were like, this is all Marner's fault, basically. Marner gets another coach fired. And like you saw that on Twitter yesterday. I'm like, I don't think this is on Marner. I don't know. It's crazy.
No,
it's
crazy. It's my favorite thing. It's mental illness. Not my favorite thing, but I like to tweet at these people just like mental illness. Like why is that your first instinct to go to? It's like the coach killer. Jack Eichel's also been unlucky. Mark Stone's also been unlucky, but it's all right. It's the magnifying glass. It's funny. Anyways,
well, Hanifin has like 3 goals this year. Like I don't know. It's just a lot of guys that it's just not happening for them right now.
Exactly. Maybe Marner's the coach killer, but one team's in the playoffs, the other team is in the basement trying to take their way to the fourth. So I wonder who wins that exchange. Anyways, you wanted to talk a little bit about the division race here, because there's some close races. Atlantic Division is one of them in particular. Who are we going to see come out on top of that? We've seen Tampa and Buffalo neck and neck. Did you want to talk about the Atlantic because you're Habs? Like, talk me through this Atlantic Division. Do you think Buffalo, Tampa Bay can win it with a game in hand? Do you think the Habs can come out from behind, only 4 points behind Tampa? What do you think about the Atlantic Division?
So don't look now, but the Habs can't lose a hockey game. They're playing really, really well. They're finally getting the saves, and we are seeing the wins come because of it. So like that's made this all of a sudden a bit of a 3-headed race. Definitely think it's a little bit too late for Montreal, although they do play Tampa 2 more times, including again on Tuesday, tomorrow night. So it's not out of the question. But this is more, I want to talk about this more so because I wanted to talk about Tampa and Buffalo, because Buffalo is a team that has been glazed heavily for a while now. Obviously, since December 9th, let's pull it up here. Since December 9th, 34-7-4. Like just insane run of all runs here. Like just the heater of all heaters. Over that stretch, they have a below 50% expected goal share. So like they have won their way to the top, but like they haven't necessarily done it by playing great hockey. This is similar to Vegas, where Vegas has struggled. Their record's been bad, but their numbers have been good. Buffalo's been winning. Their numbers have been bad. And the reason they're winning all these games, 3rd in shooting percentage and 1st in save percentage over that run. That's not sustainable. It's just not sustainable. If they don't have, a Sorokin or Vasilevsky in net, they're talking like Alex Lyon and, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, a guy who I've liked in the past, but he's not that good. Lyon's a guy we've seen with Florida, go on a heater in the regular season before. That year, Florida, the first year they made the Cup final, lost to Vegas. People forget, Lyon was their starter going into the playoffs. Lyon was the reason they made the playoffs that year. In 8th, they fired Brunette, they hired Maurice, and they were bad for a while. They found their way in because Lyon went on this insane run, got them into the playoffs, and was pulled in the middle of game 2. He literally did not last more than a game and a half. And Bobrovsky came in, and the rest is history. 2 cups later and all that, 3 cup final appearances. Florida, we all know that story. But I don't trust Lyon to continue this. I don't trust Buffalo and their forwards to keep scoring at this rate. This is also a group that really lacks experience. It's a pretty young team. I'm very interested to see how Buffalo is priced come playoff time, because right now they're being priced game to game and in the market like a Tampa, not like a Tampa, but not far off. They're being priced as a pretty elite team and a top team in the East. Whereas I think they're a lot closer to that tier of, Montreal, Detroit, Ottawa, and such, as opposed to a Carolina or a Tampa. So I want to fade this Sabres team. I've been fading the Sabres team a little bit. Got pretty unlucky that the Kraken didn't beat them the other night. But look, we've seen their numbers crash. I tweeted it out. I've talked about it so many times in the newsletter, and I've tweeted it out after the Sabres beat the Lightning. I'm still buying all the Tampa Atlantic prices. I think that ship is kind of sailed now, because we're looking at minus 290 for them to win the division. So probably a little bit too late, but hopefully you got in on a good amount of that, because I think I'd be pretty surprised if Tampa didn't come out on top here. They're already leading on points percentage. They play Montreal twice. They play Buffalo once. They very much control their own destiny, and that's a team that given that opportunity, I don't think they're going to let it slip.
Okay, so if you feel like Tampa's pretty good at that minus 290 to win their division, would you just look elsewhere, Jack Adams, and kind of click John Cooper, or is it just too tight at the plus 100 for John Cooper? Because right now, Lindy Ruff is the only other competition at minus 160. Do you feel like it's too tight here to click that as a way to sort of play Tampa Bay futures in other aspects to get some plus money there?
I see what you're saying. I definitely don't. I also think like Vasilevsky, Vezina is again interesting. Like I see, I'm already pretty in on Vasilevsky, Vezina, and Cooper, Jack Adams. So like I'm not necessarily looking to add Cooper at some worse prices and some better prices. Ruff was like -3 something like a week and a half ago. So like obviously market's realizing, okay, Tampa goes and wins the President's, or not the President's Trophy, but wins the division, maybe wins the conference.
East, yeah.
Like Buffalo slides, yeah. Like I mean, there's very much a pathway for Cooper to win this thing. Plus 100 is probably a bet that I would like more than Tampa to win the division, laying that number at this point. Although I do feel confident that Tampa wins the division. Vasi is interesting too, because if the Islanders slip out of a playoff spot, and Tampa on the back of Vasi get first seed in the East, I mean, he's right there too. And plus 210. That's a pretty decent number, I think, right now.
Yeah, plus 210 over at FanDuel. Also, I guess something to consider as well. These awards bets won't grade until, was it June? Maybe. So maybe the division is the right play here because it's a -290, but it grades in 3 weeks or 2 weeks. So maybe that's a better click. We got to go rapid fire here, not realizing how much time we're taking talking about hockey. So quickly, you wanted to talk about the wild card race. Is there any bets you wanted to talk about in particular? Because mostly in the West, the East and West, in that last wild card spot, both feel pretty wide open. Blue Jackets, Senators, Red Wings, Flyers all kind of have a chance in the East. In the West, it's the Preds, Kings, Kraken, Jets. Even the Sharks and the Blues maybe have a chance there, but doubt it. More so the Sharks and the Blues. Anything you like that's available still on the board to make the playoffs?
Stop me if you've heard this one before, but I'm doubling down on the Kings to make the playoffs. Plus 115. I'm tripling down, quadrupling down, whatever you want to call it. Like, I mean, it's right there for them right now. I also don't mind taking a flyer on the Jets at plus 850. I think that's a really good bet too. I want to fade Nashville. I want to fade Seattle. I want to fade San Jose. Like, I want to fade all those other teams in the mix. Basically, Kings or Jets for me. What I would do is I would go like full unit on the Kings, maybe half a unit on the Jets, and then you're kind of in a good position with one of those teams making it. Just like Seattle has a brutal schedule, by far the toughest. The Preds are just a bad hockey team. I got a firsthand look at that against the Habs this weekend. They are not good. I mean, it's just San Jose killed themselves with that 6-game losing streak. So, and it's too little too late for the Blues, even though they're playing really well. In the East, I still do like the Sens to make it. We're back to getting a good price on them, -120, because of the fact that they just lost a couple. But like Sanderson's on his way back, and I think they'll ultimately do just enough to get in there and then kind of be a dangerous team once they do get in.
All right. You wanted to talk a little bit about games for today. Anything you bet on already for NHL? And then I guess we'll flip over quick rapid fire MLB.
For NHL tonight, I like Calgary, Colorado under 6 plus money, or under 6.5 to like -125-ish. There's a 6.5 -120 out there, which is good too. 6 plus money. Both of those are good. I like that one for tonight. I like Vegas and Vancouver under 6.5 to -110. And I liked San Jose, St. Louis under, but that's kind of not really in the best range. If you can get like a -105 to -110 on that, I think I'd be in on St. Louis, San Jose under as well. So those are 3 things I got for tonight.
All right, let's flip over and talk MLB quickly while I still have you. You wanted to talk about futures. If you had a bet, I guess just fire it away and talk us through it. You want to talk a little bit about the Rookie of the Year race and the Cy Young. Any bets in either of those respective markets?
Yeah, I think it's interesting, like looking at these odds boards and the awards markets after like we played 2.5% of the season now, like even less for some cases, like, and just seeing some of the drastic overreactions. And sometimes it's like you want to react quickly, but like also like, some of these, like DeLauder looks unbelievable, but also like we've adjusted from like 15 to 1 down to like plus 300 in like 3-4 games. I mean, let's see if these guys can sustain it. It's still like a very small sample. I like 2 bets in AL Rookie of the Year. I like Okamoto now, who's like was kind of like plus 350, plus 400. You can get him as high as like plus 850, 900 now. There's 750, whatever out there. You're kind of getting like double the price at this point because of the fast starts for DeLauder and Murakami. But like again, I mean, it's very, 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 very small sample. And Okamoto looked really good. He obliterated the ball yesterday. I think he's going to do damage in that lineup. So I like buying a little bit of a dip on him, and also Basalo as well, who's like a really, very, really good hitter. Clearly a guy that whether he's a catcher, but he's not even going to be catching for Baltimore, really. They just want his bat in the lineup. Batting in the heart of a really good lineup. Obviously, Baltimore got off to a little bit of a slower start. Like he was 10-1 last week. You're gonna give me 20-1 now because he started the season 2 for 10. Like I'll take that any day of the week. So I like buying the dip there as well. And in the NL for the Rookie of the Year thing, I like Bryce Eldridge, a guy who was maybe in like that 30-1 range sort of before the season. Didn't make the team. Giants have started terribly on offense. They cannot hit anything. I think it's only a matter of time before Eldridge is up. He started really well in AAA. He's a great hitter. He's going to be here in 2 weeks at the most. And now we're getting like 65-1, even bigger prices at some spots. So yeah, you're basically getting just a massive number on a guy because he's going to have because the other guy's going to have a 2-week head start. I'll take that any day.
All right, Bryce Eldridge, 65-1. Any plays in the MLB for today, or anything you like in the Cy Young? Because you also mentioned that. We can skip over Cy Young if you want to talk about MLB plays today.
Yeah, just for Cy Young, just like quickly, Cease and Skeens. Again, just a little dip on Skeens. I don't think that we should be concerned over one start where O'Neal Cruz just couldn't feel the ball in center field. I think Skeens will be fine, and ultimately, again, it's not a big dip, but you're just getting a price that you didn't think would ever necessarily be available on him. Cease is a little bit of a better. A little bit worse now, obviously, than when I gave him up before the season, but I just keep buying. See what he did against that A's lineup. Granted, they struck out against everyone, but that was unbelievable what he did. And then I'm going to go full Zilbert here. I'm 1-0 in MLB on the season after giving out the Angels the other day. So I'm going to put that to the test today with Cleveland Guardians. Money line and first 5. I still don't think Sasaki is a serious starter in this league, and they keep trying to make that happen. I think that's going to go pretty ugly for them. And Parker Messick's a guy I'm pretty high on the Guardians. And then I also bet the Pirates and the Red Sox. Braxton Ashcraft, a guy I really like for Pittsburgh, and really like Ranger Suarez, pretty low on Lance McCullers. So yeah, putting my 1-0 to the test here with a few MLB plays. And again, like I said the other day, I don't bet a ton of MLB sides, more so like some stuff early in the season and then like sporadically here and there, but I do like to fire early on. So yeah, I got those 3 for tonight.
All right, sounds good. Based on those starting pitchers that you like, I think you'd like my fantasy team. Anyways, Alex, appreciate you joining the show. We'll chat soon. See you on here tomorrow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you, Jason.
Awesome stuff there from Alex as always. Tons of futures out there. I want to play that Bryce Eldridge 66-1. That seems like a lot of fun here, especially if he's going to get called up as soon as Alex says he will. Before we bring on our next guest, shout out to our next guest, by the way, who's able to slot in here last minute for us. Really appreciate that from Matt. Just want to remind you guys about our friends over at FanDuel. The Hammer Daily is brought to you by FanDuel. Baseball fans, the MLB season is in full swing, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to call your shot with daily dingers. Joining the action is easy. Just make your free pick on who's hitting a home run in their game. And if you're right, you'll get a profit boost to use on your next bet for a chance at extra winnings. It's just another reason why FanDuel is the home for home runs. They want me to mention a few players who might hit a home run. Give me Okamoto for the Jays. Been betting him every single game to hit a home run. Finally hit for me in that last game. Barry Horse talked about him. I think his power is being underrated in the market. Well, Barry Horse thinks that. So I think that. So yeah, give me Okamoto to hit a home run. Are you ready? Time to play your game on FanDuel. Head over to FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to get started. That's FanDuel.com/forwardprogress to opt in for daily dingers and make your free pick on who's hitting a homer. Play ball and swing on for the fences on FanDuel, an official partner of the MLB. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. For Kansas in affiliation, Kansas Star Casino. 18 plus and present in DC, Kentucky, or Wyoming. No purchase necessary. Opt-in required. Bonus issues, non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max withdrawal amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 1-800-MY-RESET. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/Chat in Connecticut. Visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-275-0050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts. Call 1-877-8-HOPE-NY. Text HOPE-NY in New York or call 1-877-770-7867 in Louisiana. Also, I just realized it's a free pick on who's going to hit a home run. So maybe don't go Okamoto and maybe just look at the odds boards and whoever's most likely, click on that so you can get your profit boost.
Eugenio Suarez.
I don't know if that's it. Anyways, let's bring on our next guest here. He's a college basketball analyst and a consultant. He does content over at The Basket. Under Review, you can check out his edition of the Weekend Under Review podcast, which dropped earlier today. Make sure you go check that out. Matt Winick, how's it going, my friend?
It's going well. 1 week left.
1 week left.
No one cares about me for 7 months. I get my last week here.
Listen, I'm going to care, and one thing I care about is every time you've come on over the last 2 weeks, you look more and more rested, which is good to see. Good to hear.
Yeah, well, couple of days off last week. No days off this week because the Final Four is upon us, and I'll be in Indianapolis in 2 days.
Oh, that's incredible. I can't believe you get to go live. Any tips for someone going to like a March Madness game? I guess I probably should ask you this at the beginning of March Madness. I went one time. I'll tell a quick story here. I think it was maybe 6-8 years ago. It was in Hartford, Connecticut. Don't recommend visiting Hartford, Connecticut. No disrespect to that city, but very, very interesting spot. Had a lot of fun though. Any tips for someone going to watch a game live?
I just personally, if I was at a game in the early rounds, I would not be able to withstand the fact that 3 other games would be going on at the same time. So I'll only go to a March Madness game if it's a standalone game, and that's what the Final Four is, right? There's no other game going on at the same time, unless you're talking about NIT, which we might. So other than that, there's no other NCAA game going on at the same time.
All right, we are going to talk about NIT. We're going to save that towards the end. Let's talk about what we saw in the Elite Eight over the past weekend here. Crazy stuff. UConn winning. How the heck did that happen? I have no idea. 0.4 seconds left. 3 to win the game. Duke gets trumped. By the way, our Illinois futures look much better after Duke gets trumped. Not that they were looking bad to begin with, but hey, Illinois looks good. Talk me through what happened towards the end of that game. Are you shocked at all UConn making it this far in the tournament? Do you feel like they deserve to win over Duke? And also give me your opinion on the Caden Boozer debacle.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised UConn got here. They did have very good matchups with UCLA and Michigan State, 2 matchups I thought they'd handle easily, and they did. The Duke game was a byproduct of, I think the first half of this game was how I thought this game was going to go. Duke was able to get inside, able to stop, UConn from getting those open threes. And then in the second half, Duke kind of took the foot off of the gas way too soon. And because Duke doesn't really have a point guard, they played through their power forward in Cameron Boozer. It seemed like whenever anyone other than Cameron Boozer had the ball in their hands, they were like, where's Cameron Boozer? Where's Cameron Boozer? And no one was really willing to take shots. It's really easy to defend a team when the defense knows that only one player wants to shoot. And so Duke took their foot off the gas too early. UConn finally hit shots at the most important time. And the next thing you know, that crazy play at the end happens there, which again, I mentioned it on Twitter and people are already not very happy with me. I think in a vacuum, Caden Boozer made the right decision. Duke did the right thing to pass the ball up. They just executed it very poorly.
Yeah, no, I think it was very poor execution. When he did that, it reminded me of this is going to be so deep inside baseball. It was a random Raptors game. Forget who it was. Forget who the Raptors were playing. Someone on the other team just chucked up the ball with, I think it was 4 seconds left, and with 0.6 seconds left, a player grabbed it, chucked it. And ended up hitting a 3.
That was against the Wizards, and it was Morris Peterson.
There we go, Mo Pete. Yes, I do remember that. But that's all I could think about. It's pretty similar situation to that. Unfortunate for Duke, but fortunate for us as we carry our Illinois futures into the next round. I want to talk about the Michigan and Arizona. Let's look forward to the Final Four here. A lot of talk about that being sort of the most impressive game that we'll ever, I don't want to say that we'll ever see, but in terms of KenPom, it's one of the best games in college basketball history. Talk us through the path that they took from the Elite Eight to get to there, with Michigan beating Tennessee. Just talk about Arizona being Purdue and how these two teams match up.
Yeah, KenPom has data going back to 2011. I was 12 years old then. I probably was not watching a ton of hoop. And this is the greatest game KenPom has ever registered before. So in reality, this is probably the greatest game I've ever witnessed. It's really cool. I'm going to be there for that one, but it's going to be the best game really anybody in their 20s has ever seen. And so what that means is it's strength on strength. These teams are both huge. They both want to get into the paint. They both are good at removing you from getting to the paint, not letting you get those rim attempts. And neither team is that reliant on the three-pointer. So it's really going to be strength on strength, power on power, size on size. And I think that it probably favors Michigan because they do more other things well, and they can stop Arizona from getting to that hoop and being an unbelievably dominant interior squad, which is kind of the one way Arizona can beat you. So when you have more optionality, that just I have a slight lean towards that side.
All right. Is there anything that that Arizona can take from Michigan's path to here? It seems like Alabama sort of put up a little bit of a fight against Michigan. Any takeaways for Arizona and vice versa for Michigan, where they can look at the path that these teams took to get to the Final Four, where there's maybe cracks in their armor?
Well, yeah, I mean, Alabama made 14 threes. I think they made 11 of those in the first half. So and that's when that game was really close.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say if Arizona needs 11 threes and a half for them to stay competitive, obviously they don't. You know how many times they've hit 11 threes in an entire game? Two times. So Alabama shooting 29%, hitting 14 threes would have been the season high in threes for Arizona. They do not take shots from deep. Just over a quarter of their shots are threes. And so it's not like Arizona, when Michigan's lost games, and Michigan's only lost 3, they've lost them all really in different ways. Wisconsin beat them because their bigs couldn't miss from 3, and Michigan wants their bigs to stay down low. Arizona will never shoot threes with their bigs, ever. Duke beat them because they were able to slow that game down to 62 possessions and just had the ball in Cameron Boozer's hands late, and Michigan couldn't get out and run. Arizona loves to run, so they're not going to do that either. And then there's the Purdue game where Purdue never gets to the rim in the first place. They hit all their shots. I mean, Oscar Clough and Trey Kaufman-Renn combined for 17 makes. Most of those were not around the rim. They were floaters and hook shots. Arizona can do that, but again, they're best getting to the rim and they're best getting to the free throw line. The Purdue game is the closest example of what Arizona needs to replicate to win, but I'd argue it's the hardest to replicate because the other two, there's a definitive reason as to why that happened. Purdue just got white hot.
Okay. All right. So if gun to your head, if you had to pick right now, it's almost a coin flip here. Michigan minus 122 on the money line. Spreads 1.5 minus 108. Totals at 157.5. If you had to pick a side, a spread or total, even you can go with the side because it's only minus 1.5. What gun to your head? What would you pick here?
Yeah, I'd take Michigan minus 1.5. I mean, this did open even in most places, so it seems like people are agreeing. I don't want to become a prisoner in the moment and just see how dominant Michigan looked yesterday and just be like, well, I got to pick them. But I just think that they are going to do a better job at taking away what Arizona wants to do, and I don't know if Arizona has a counter.
All right, let's move over and talk the other game, the Fighting Illini against Connecticut, UConn. There are Illini. We haven't really touched on them that much. Total in the game right now is at 139.5. Illinois slight favorites at minus 134. Break down this game for us here. Who do you think has the matchup advantage? And then finally, a gun to your head bet on this one.
I'm a little worried for us. I think that Illinois is a better team than UConn, and yet I worry about this matchup. Illinois' defense is dead last of 365 teams. They are 365th in turnover rate. They do not force turnovers because they do not pressure because they're the tallest team in the country, and they just say, score over us. Why not? What that means is they'll often try to hide their worst defender or a big defender off of a really bad shooter so we can stay around the paint and make it really hard to drive. The problem with UConn is the only players that can't shoot are their 5 men who are already in the paint. So Illinois is going to have to play 4 guys on the perimeter and basically let Terrace Reed, who's dominant against Duke, go one-on-one against their bigs because Illinois never doubles anything because they like to stay at home and not play over aggressive. They're not that athletic. So either Terrace Reed goes crazy from inside the arc, or Illinois sends a second player, plays off of someone, and then there's a UConn shooter who's open. And UConn hasn't hit shots in this tournament, and they've still made the Final Four. So UConn might get red hot from 3 here, and Illinois is going to have issues defending that if they put emphasis on Terrace Reed. Now, I don't know if you remember when Purdue played UConn in the national championship game 2 years ago, but UConn's strategy was basically, let's let Zach Edey score 40 points, because if all he's going to do is post up over and over and over and over again, they're not going to hit any threes and they're not going to score enough points. If I was Illinois, that's what I would do. I would say, let Terrace Reed score 40 points. He's going to miss some. Don't let UConn get those threes. Let's stay at home at that, and let's let Terrace Reed shoot over our 7'1" and 7'2" big men. Try not to foul him.
All right, I like that. Good strategy there from Illinois. Hopefully, we can have you courtside, whispering in the coach's ear there for.
I do not think I will be caught. If I had to guess, I don't know where my seat is. But if I had to guess, it's probably impossibly high up.
All right, we'll just get you a megaphone then, and then they'll solve all the problems here. Digging into the Hammer budget in today's episode. All right, so if you had to guess, then gun to your head. Not if you had to guess, gun to your head. Spread, total, money line. What do you want to take here? Who do you like and why?
I would love for Illinois to handle this. Like you and I said, I got plus 1,600, 16 to 1. I will take that. People have better numbers than me, but that's what I have. I think at minimum this should be unbelievably close. And so UConn as an underdog is probably where I would go.
All right, UConn as an underdog is where you're going to go. Breaking our hearts here. And the audience's heart, but it's okay. I appreciate the honesty.
In a way, it's the hedge, right? So why not?
I know I'm not clicking that. I've clicked everything you talked about on this show, but that I will not click. I'm standing with our Illini. Let's flip over and talk NIT while I have you for a couple more minutes here. Anything you got for us in the NIT? Also, didn't realize the college basketball crown. First time I heard it. Is this like a new tournament? Has this always happened?
Who was there last year? Where were you last year?
I don't know. I just wasn't as deep in college basketball last year around this time. I think I was getting the March Madness fatigue. Definitely not feeling it this year. Anything for the college basketball crown or NIT for us?
College basketball crown is the most ridiculous tournament ever. No one really cares.
Okay.
The teams that it's broadcast on Fox, so Fox conferences get priority, which is why it's mostly Big Ten and Big East teams, because those are the conferences that Fox has. So that's just very bizarre. And then half the players are in the transfer portal. Teams don't really care. It's just if you could, it's the most motivation factor tournament you could possibly think of. If one team wants to win, they're going to win, and they're going to win by a lot. So that's worth keeping an eye on as we get into these transfer portal announcements and seeing who's on the roster. Minnesota a couple of hours ago actually just announced which players were joining them because some of them just weren't even coming. So worth keeping an eye out. For the NIT, you have Tulsa versus New Mexico and Illinois State versus Auburn. Auburn and New Mexico are the favorites. Auburn's a big favorite over Illinois State. I don't really want to touch that game. New Mexico is the best team in this tournament, and they're a short favorite against Tulsa. I think they win that game. I think they win the tournament. I don't know if you can get NIT to win the NIT futures, but I think New Mexico is going to win the damn thing. I've taken them every game, and they've handled business easily. Their 3 wins to get to this point were by 24, 25, and 15.
There are NIT futures. If you go to college basketball team futures, just search NIT and it will pop up. New Mexico plus 170 to win the tournament.
Is that the lowest odds?
That's what I can find right now on FanDuel. I haven't looked.
No, but I'm saying is Auburn shorter?
Auburn's shorter at plus 125. Yeah.
Okay, good. I was going to say as long as New Mexico is not the shortest odds, which Auburn should in theory have the shortest odds. Just New Mexico is the best team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, because of course Auburn, like you said, minus 250-ish on the money line right there, most likely to advance to the finals. So New Mexico plus 170. I will happily click that with you, but like I said before, not clicking UConn. Appreciate you joining the show. Any final thoughts before you head out? I heard a lot of talk early on in the tournament about how the March Madness is ruined, or how things are not as no more Cinderellas, blah blah blah. Do you feel like that sentiment remains? How is this tournament compared to those in years past?
It hasn't been the greatest tournament, but like we said, Michigan, Arizona very well might be the greatest game in our lifetime. And so I really hope it lives up to it, because if it does, you can just pinpoint that game. It's maybe some teams, maybe there's not as many Cinderellas, maybe there's been too many blowouts from the top teams, but look what it's netted us and look at how awesome this game is. So really hoping it's not one of those Michigan just runs away and wins by 35 games, because that would suck.
All right. Before you head out here, if you had to guess, if you had to pick a winner, national championship winner, it doesn't have to be with the given odds right now. Who would you pick and why? Give me the finalist and who you think is going to win.
The winner of Michigan, Arizona wins the national championship, and I picked Michigan to win this game. So Michigan wins the national championship. I think that's the most likely outcome. It sucks because my 2 futures are Arizona and Illinois. I really just am hating on myself today, but I just think that Michigan is going to be very hard to beat.
Yeah, no, as Corby likes to say, we like to bet things on the show. Not futures that are going to win, but futures that will be at large numbers that you'll probably finish second and feel really good about, but then end up winning no money. So that's the goal of the show, I think. That's what we like to do here. Anyways, Matt, appreciate you joining the show. Reminder, you can check out the Weekend Under Review. Just search Weekend Under Review on all podcast platforms. You'll be able to find it also on YouTube. I believe you tweeted out as well. So maybe check out Matt on Twitter as well. While you're there, give him a follow. Matt, appreciate you joining the show. Also appreciate you showing up every single week here, talking through college basketball the entire year and giving us the preview for March Madness. Matt, we'll talk soon.
For sure. Take it easy.
Awesome stuff there. As always, from Matt Winick. Go follow him on Twitter. Go listen to the Weekend Review. Great podcast to listen to as we head down the stretch of the end, essentially, of college basketball. Quick reminder, before we bring on Drunken Goon, we got some World Cup qualifiers to talk through. Hopefully he's brought some MLS stuff here for us. I'm excited to talk about that. Thumbs up behind the scenes. I love it. Quick reminder, after this show, 1 p.m. Eastern time, over on the Circles Off YouTube channel. Circle back. Live. Jacob, Rob, Kirk, Jeff. No one suspended this week, so that's good to hear. Going to talk a little bit about, I think the story off the hop is going to be about Tiger Woods, which, hopefully he doesn't drive again. I don't know what to say about that. I don't want to talk about this. Some crazy reactions, I guess, on golf Twitter as well to the whole Tiger Woods stuff. Anyways, all right, let's close out the show. We got Drunken Goon coming on. You know him. You've seen him on Forward Progress. He's a big football knower, both the egg-shaped one and the circular one. No, not the egg-shaped one. All right, Adrian, how's it going, my friend?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm excited to get into things today. Before we do that, quick reminder, you gave us Turkey. Oh, it was -1.5. So that one didn't come.
What you got, -1.5, -2.25. You lost half or you lost the whole thing.
Yeah. But you did give us Bolivia, which was a Bolivian banger, is what I'll call it.
It was a sweat, but it came.
Yeah. 2-1 versus Suriname, which I cannot point out either countries on a map.
Bring out the map.
Maybe we should do a little GeoGuessr thing here because I will be horrible. There was what team is it that I have no Kosovo? I don't know where Kosovo is.
Kosovo. It's in the Balkans.
I assume that, but how am I supposed to know? I'm not a geography guy. Anyways, let's get into the World Cup European qualifiers today. We got a couple matches coming up tomorrow. Do you want to start with the European qualifiers or the international qualifiers? European?
Let's do the European ones, yeah.
All right, European. Biggest one I want to talk about, of course, is Italy. Italy versus Bosnia. Talk me through this one as a Italian fan, we'll call it. How should I feel about this game? Any bets you got here for us? Talk us through this one.
No bet. I have a lean on Bosnia +1. I think Italy pulls it out, but the price is it's hard to go to Bosnia. I mean, they have that field that's like a potato field. It's all out war. You're in the Balkans. They've started the campaign showing their players the Italians celebrating when they won the penalty shootout. So it's all out war. They have a bigger stadium, but they prefer to play in this one because the crowd is right on top of you, and they reduced the capacity also because I think half of the capacity is suspended by UEFA. So it's going to be really lower bowl. Everybody's on top of the players, and the Italians need to be ready for this.
All right. How did Italy look in the game last week here against Northern Ireland? How did the young guys look? How do we feel about them heading into this match?
They look good. They look confident. They didn't panic. It took them a while to get that first goal. Retegi missing that breakaway, could have made it a lot easier the rest of the way. But once they got the second goal, it was never in doubt. Northern Ireland wasn't going to pose them too many problems. They didn't self-destruct, and that's all you have to ask for them.
All right. My friend texted me this earlier today. Edin Dzeko still plays for Bosnia. Isn't he like 43 years old at this point?
Yeah, he scored the equalizer of a set play late in the game. He's the man there. They don't have a big player pool, but he shows up for country every time, and he's still a threat. Italy has the tools to contain him, but one mistake can be costly.
Clip this after Italy loses by one singular goal from Edin Dzeko. Let's flip over and talk Sweden, Poland. Anything you like in this matchup here?
Yeah, I got a bet on Sweden there, -0.5, +104 available. Shop around. They basically destroyed Ukraine. Gyökeres got a hat trick. It was never in doubt. This team is on a mission, and I think they will do the same. Being at home, it's a sellout in Stockholm. Poland has had to come from behind against Albania at home. They went 1-0 down and weren't creating a lot of chances. Lewandowski's rescued them, and then they got a long range winner late in the game. But they didn't look very good. and it's a tough trip to Sweden. I think Sweden takes care of business here.
All right, Sweden takes care of business here. You like the -1.5 plus 104 is what we're looking for.
Yeah,
Next,
one thing to mention there is Sweden's still down to the third string goalie, so Norfeld played well against Ukraine, but it's one thing that it's worth mentioning. And also right back, Hien is banged up, and they're likely to change formation, play 3-4-3, I think.
all right, let's flip over and talk Kosovo and Turkey. Kosovo right now. Turkey is the favorite on the three-way money line at -125 here. Are we running back to the well, going to Turkey again here? You like them against Kosovo?
No. I was shocked that Kosovo scored 4 on the road. That's not their style, but any way to get the job done. I think this one is going to be played very close to the vest. Turkey didn't open up against Romania. They were patient and didn't create a lot of chances. They had the goal, which was a brilliant through ball that. They took advantage of a marking mistake there and scored the winner. They had to sweat it a little bit at the end. Romania hit the post once. They also hit the post earlier, but that was offside. It was very, very tight for Turkey to get through. Even though they're the better team, they just didn't have a lot of solutions to break down the organized defense. And I think Kosovo is going to pose the same kind of problem. The one issue is their best defender, Rahmani from Napoli, is out injured. He missed the first game as well, and they conceded 3. But I think at home they will take a different approach, and they'll be very, very tight. And I actually bet the under here, under 2.5 -109.
All right, looking at the under 2.5 -109 for the Kosovo. Turkey game. Final game we have here, the Group D final, Czechia versus Denmark. Anything you like in this game for us?
I kind of like Denmark. I haven't played yet. I just want to wait and see what the lineups are. But Czechs were very poor at home to Ireland, and they went down 2-0. Credit to them. They made some subs. It was questionable. The guys that they didn't start ended up having an impact. They should have been the starters. I don't think they'll make that mistake again with Suchek starting in this game. And they survived the penalties as well. I think they will have problems containing the Danes. The Danes have been on a mission since losing those playoffs against not the playoff, but that it felt like a playoff, the game in Scotland where they needed a draw, and then they went down to 10 men and they lost late. So they're refocused, and the good news is they're also down to their third stringer, but Schmeichel has been having a horrible season at Celtic, so he's not going to play here. That's addition by subtraction for Denmark. And offensively, they've been just bossing the ball and creating a lot of chances, and had no problem advancing in the last game. I think they will find a way to win. If anything, I will play Denmark, but right now I'm waiting, hoping the price gets better.
All right, we're going to wait a little bit on Denmark there, hopefully get a better price. Anything you like in terms of the international qualifiers here, whether it be Congo versus Jamaica or Iraq versus Bolivia?
Congo. I like Congo there.
Okay.
Jamaica was horrible. I haven't played yet. Market is -0.5, -116. I was hoping for closer to evens, but I think they're the better team, obviously, but they do not score a lot, so that one's it's going to be a tight affair. I think Congo will win it in regulation, but I wouldn't be surprised if this went to extra time. Jamaica was just horrible, didn't create a lot against New Caledonia. They barely scraped through 1-0. They were like 3.25 favorites going into the game.
All right.
The other game, I am playing Iraq. Drano bet -114 over Bolivia. Bolivia scraped through. Not as good as I expected them in that game. Iraq have had some problems getting to the venue with the situation in the Middle East. They flew out. I think they've been in Mexico for a couple of weeks now, and they're ready to go. I think they're the better team, and they should advance. That one's Drano bet -114. You can also play to qualify -115. It's good to -130 for me.
All right, Drano bet -114, like you mentioned, on Iraq. And Congo, we're going to wait for a better price here. Let's move over and talk MLS. Any team that we can talk about the games that are coming up this weekend, but before we talk about that, just any games, any teams 5 games in that you're like really impressed by? Is anyone sticking out to you?
Nashville, Salt Lake, LA has been better defensively than I expected. We mentioned that last week. TFC has actually looked better than I thought. The new pieces they brought in, they've kind of gelling in. We'll see if Sargent's going to give them that scoring boost that they desperately need. But they looked okay so far. So yeah, that's so far so good for those teams.
All right, talk us through the games then for this weekend. Anything you like here for us?
So I got 3 plays. I'm not going to go into details. I played Charlotte -a quarter, -113 at home to Philly. Philly's just horrible. They're broken, and they've had some chance to maybe right the ship over the international break, but I just don't see how they generate offense. Charlotte's got the guys the game breakers that can make a difference here. The second play, I have Chicago-Nashville over two and three quarters around evens. Both these teams love to go forward, banging goals. Nashville's been scoring like crazy, and Chicago's an over team historically. So that should be a 3 for me. 275 is a bargain.
All right, last one you have here. You said
The
3.
last one I have is not so sure about this one as well, but the Galaxy -0.5, -101 over Minnesota. This is more of a play against Minnesota than a play on the Galaxy. The Galaxy have looked decent at home, but they've blown some chances. They lost one because they lost points because of the red card, and they got blown up in another game because of the red card. So discipline has been an issue for them. But I think they've had some time to think it over the break and get this sorted out. And they're usually a good team at home that generates chances, and Minnesota doesn't look like they can compete.
All right, let's recap that there. Charlotte -a quarter, -114 is what you're looking for. Chicago, Nashville over 2.75, looking to get around even money there. And then finally the Galaxy -0.5, -101. Any final thoughts before you head out here? Anything you're looking forward to, not this week, but next week in terms of champions?
Rapid fire here.
Yeah, go for it.
We've been talking about the coaching change, Bruce Cassidy there. I want to talk about the other change at Spurs. 44 days, they let Igor Tudor go. Now they're in relegation battle, and they're only one win in 7 games, but it was in the Champions League. So Spurs are looking to book a tournament in New Zealand next year. But if they relegate, that's going to conflict with the dates. So interesting marketing approach there. The other thing I want to talk about is the 31 unanswered. They scored the next basket, so basically they answered. That's my take on it.
Thank you. It should be consecutive, right?
And
right.
The last thing is Leafs and Ducks. Do we see a reaction for the hit on Matthews? Who's brawling tonight?
I don't know. I hope so. Hopefully Pizzetta's in the lineup. I have no idea. I'm just trying not to follow the Leafs anymore. Just trying to look out for my mental health. What is that?
Last thing, we had the Canada friendly over the weekend, and we had Deflategate 2.0. They need one of these. I know what happened. Basically, what they do is they inflate the balls in the change room, and then they bring them out. And because it was so cold, every ball was deflated. So the first 20 minutes, they had to change 4 balls.
That's insane. Hopefully, we don't have to deal with this weather come World Cup time. I hope not. Because listen, I said in March, oh, it's getting warm. We should be fine. And it's like minus 9 degrees over the last 3 days. It was snowing.
Spring is canceled, but I hope we get a summer.
Hopefully we get a summer, and hopefully World Cup we get a summer. Adrian, appreciate you joining the show. We'll chat soon.
All right.
Awesome stuff there. As always, shout out for Goon for agreeing with me. The chat is crazy. You guys, 75% of you say it should be unanswered. It should absolutely be consecutive. If that ended the game, then that is unanswered. The points were answered. It is consecutive. Once the points become answered, it becomes consecutive. Anyways, let's get a 1 in the chat for G-Stack George so we can feel a little bit of we can console him for his Spurs getting relegated. Appreciate you guys joining the show. Quick reminder, do us a favor, smash the like button, goes a long way here on the channel. If you're new to the channel as well, hit the subscribe button. Let us know your thoughts on Alex. Let us know your thoughts on Matt. Shout out Matt who came on here last minute, and let us know your thoughts on Adrian if you liked those segments. And finally, do us a favor, rate and review 5 stars if you're listening to this in audio form. Tap that star button. Give us a review. Goes a long way here on the channel. That's it. That wraps up today's show. Shout out to Alex. Shout out to Matt. Shout out to Goon. Shout out to you guys. Shout out to Mike working his way behind the boards. Also, as we head out here, you guys are going to be redirected to Circle Back on the Circles Off YouTube channel. So while you're there, give them a like as well. Anyways, appreciate you guys joining the show. This has been the Monday, March 30th edition of the Hammer Daily here on the Hammer Bang Network, presented by our good friends over at FanDuel. We will see you guys right here tomorrow.